Hello, hello. Hello. Okay, we're gonna get more people coming on. We're gonna get more people coming on. More people. More people. More people. More people. Can you hear me now? Maybe this is even better. Hello, 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 hello. You can hear me. Good, 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 good. Well, so what goes on now is an intuitive gallery. Um, you've entered into an intuitive gallery. If you're going back and see my other videos, you'll know what's about to happen tonight. Either I'm going to teach a lesson or I'm going to do some sessions reading. If you want a private session for me, you go to my website, you go to my link tree and book me a private session. So yes, we got a couple people from before. They're here. Let's see what we can do. How many more people can come on? And everyone seems to be booking on now. They're going to be booking on now. They're going to come on because we're going to teach a lesson. I have no idea what the lesson is, as usual. I have no idea who's going to show up, but whoever's going to show up and whatever lesson's going to be taught has already been destined. So I'm just going to let it flow. I'm going to let it flow right through. Hello, hello, Bella. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, good. Hello, Lindsay. Hello, Gay Moore. Gay Noor. Hello, we're here. We're going to get more people on. We're going to open up for some questions. The new people will probably go first. And then I'll get to my people, my ride or die people. I like my ride and die people that have been with me for a while. Hit some likes. Y'all hit like on here and share it and do what you need to do because you know it's going to be a wonderful show. By the time you hit share, it's already going to be on, you know. It's going to be on fire. So just do it now before I get revved up, give them time to look at it and figure out. AP Southern, how are you? Yes, 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 yes. Yes, hit the like button, everyone, so we can get this spread out to more people before I begin. Before I begin to get this spread out to more people. Hello, 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 hello. And so what's going to happen now is that you're gonna have, is this a retrograde tense or what? Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is a retrograde conversation. We'll see. We're in a little bit of it's interesting because the retrograde is not usually the retrograde is really where a lot of the energy is and how you're feeling and a lot of energies in terms of technology. But right now the retrograde is just an addition to what's actually happening energetically. And so yeah, everything right now is going to, I don't know how to say it without sounding a little strange, but cease to work the way it used to work. It will cease to work the way it used to work. Um, Retrogrades are, Ooh, I haven't spoken about retrogrades in about at least 4 or 5 years. Thank you. Yeah, you get that, huh? Yeah. Um, Good. I'm glad you got some questions. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to, yeah, you get that, Lindsay. Yeah. Bella says, how do you overcome self-sabotaging behaviors? And now that one right there is probably prime number one question right now. So thank you both for those questions because it kind of opened me up. But let's deal with Bella. How do you overcome self-sabotaging behaviors? You have to understand your program. I think a lot of people jump into shadow work and things like that, but they have to understand what's been programmed into them, because you have to pull it up at the root. Other than that, you're just sort of pulling out the needles of bad traumatic times. You're just like, oh, this hurts. I'll pull this out, but you haven't really healed the program. And so, how I do it is, I question everything. I question everything in my mind. I question. I question if I believe what I say I believe. Do I believe that? The moment you start questioning yourself is the moment that you get to the self sabotage. And how you do that is, books. I just generally know as a basis that some of my self sabotaging thoughts are because I was in a program that diminished me completely. And if you're a chosen one, you'll see that they usually do it in your family. It's not usually coming from so much an external force as it is your family that has given you thoughts that were with you when you were forming. So every time you think about something you want, you instantly have to think about something that someone said something against it. And it's like a program, it's automatic. You have to defend everything. When you're in survival mode, like we were in and still are in many cases, you have to defend everything that you get. So you never really think you deserve it without a fight. So you struggle with everything because you think that everything good you get, you had to sacrifice and struggle with. So nothing comes easy because you don't believe it comes easy to you. You don't believe it comes easy to you, so nothing comes easy to you. What everyone is talking about here on TikTok is reality. Now, that's exactly at the basis. What you believe, what reality you believe, and you don't really manifest it, you imagineer it. And so that's a little different, and the people will catch up to that level of creative thinking, shall we say. But self-sabotaging thoughts are not only coming from your programming from your childhood, but from everyday language. You have to be careful not to mirror or match energy. You have to be careful of that. It's not something that you should judge yourself over. Here's another thing. You know what really gets rid of self-sabotaging thoughts? Judgment. When you stop judging these thoughts as if you have to fight them, but you figure out, well, why would I think that? Why would I want something and think against it? And you'll get to where that was done for you, but you have to look at your life as if it is like a book. That's how I do it. I look at my life like it's a book. I don't look at it, I don't get attached to it so much because I know that I was a clean slate when I got here, you know. And now I have all these programmings that work against me. But here's the thing also. Sometimes, and I don't know how healers got this way. I really don't know how they got this way. But sometimes in a healing profession, everybody's looking to see what's wrong with you. And very few people are looking to see what's right with you. And that's a huge disservice to the light when everyone's looking for the issue that you have as a form of healing. And no one's looking at, wow, you don't have that. Other people have that. You don't have that. And so you go into this healing field as you're broken or something that needs to be fixed all the time. It's like you feel like, oh, I got to fix this and I got to fix that and I got to fix this and I got to fix that. And if I'm not doing the work here, then that means I'm not doing. Like we're going the wrong way. You're damaging yourself trying to heal yourself. You're causing your own self trauma trying to heal yourself from trauma. If you just stop judging yourself and know the basis that you are a clean slate, and now these are programmings that you're pulling up. But you will find it's because the free your mind and you can free your body, but freeing your mind is one of the hardest things I think a human can do, and taking in the account of the amount of oppression of their spirit and their mind for so many generations and the programming that goes along with it. So to free your mind is an endeavor, but even if you freed your mind for 30 minutes or 5 minutes, it reverberates in your life. Things move immediately. Someone came to preach. Yeah, I came to preach today. I came to preach, I guess, yeah. So when you have self-sabotaging thoughts, and when you have, first of all, stop comparing yourself and remind yourself every hour on the hour. This is not something that you say to yourself and all of a sudden you get the light and all of a sudden now you're free from it. No, you have to remind yourself because the program was aligned so that it would compound every hour, every 2 hours. Anything you did that you wanted to do that was good for you, there was something to tell you that you want. You didn't deserve it, or you needed to work harder, or you needed to be a better survivor and things like that. And mind you, survival instincts are not bad. Keeps a lot of good people here. Yeah, a lot of good people have common sense. And they don't do things that would inhibit their life and still believe and still think that the light wanted them to do that. So it's like sometimes common sense is rare in spirituality. Just common sense. And I understand it because on the higher dimensions, the rules are not the same. But you don't live there all the time. And that's the beauty of being an expanded soul. You're able to look at your life through the dimensions. You're able to talk to it. Like, the things I'm going to say on the third dimension, I'm going to say on the third dimension. Doesn't mean I don't know the sixth dimension. But I'm talking to people in the third dimension. I'm doing some third dimensional stuff. That's why I chose to be on the third dimension. They didn't choose to go to the fifth and sixth dimension. They're regular people walking around every day. That's just the resting part. The resting spot is third dimension. And so you do third dimension, but you can't expect everyone to be on a higher dimension, and stop trying to have deep conversations with shallow people. Stop being angry because they're shallow. You know they're shallow. You're trying to stretch them because you want to have a deeper conversation. And, that's true. And they don't want to have one. They want to have a shallow conversation. So what are you going to do? They can't climb to you, but you can drop to them. But they can't climb up because you came in front of them and now they want to, they all of a sudden now they see the light and they're talking six-dimensional stuff. No, they didn't sign up for that. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of the spiritual community. They're not understanding the cycles. They're not understanding the individual journeys because they have been in group consciousness with churches. So the Holy Spirit, everybody's worthy of it. No, not everybody signs up for that level of spiritual contact. They just didn't. And they don't have to tell it to you. It'll show up because they'll be sitting still while everybody else be having the spirit. They'll be sitting still. They didn't sign up for that. They're not going to hell. They just didn't sign up for that level of contact. They have their will is intact. They don't need it to that level. And so when you're talking to people and you say outside of it and you're conversing with them and you could see and feel that they actually are getting some light, but there are times when, what I've learned, when people first start to awaken, they assume that everybody's awakening with them. They assume that everyone is going through an awakening process with them. And the second thing is that they assume that everyone's going through the awakening process at the rate that they are. Just because one person knows a crystal and you meet someone who knows a crystal doesn't mean they know about the Akashic records. They just may know about the crystal. They just may know about the crystal. They may not know about anything else past the crystal because they don't need to know about anything else past the crystal. That's where they are for right now. Now, if you want to learn more, then you move and you get to where the people that you're meeting are feeding you more than what you know. But you have to do that. That's part of the journey. A lot of people awaken and they don't understand the movement that's necessary, that goes with it. They want to go. They want to awaken through retreats, and retreats are the beginning. Yeah, but some people they keep retreating for like 5 and 6 years, and they wonder, well, how come I'm not getting anywhere? Because you won't take off the training wheels. Yes, Solo Man. Yes, what's up, bro? Yes. Um, you won't take off the training wheels, meaning you won't you won't grab a one-way ticket and let the spirit lead you to the journey. You're into this group thing. You're into this training wheel thing. But a lot of the spiritual awakening journeys, almost at least 95 that I know of, and I know a lot of them, they are a solo effort at some point. You go to Sedona alone, and uh, most people will tell you, the Sedona. There are certain parts of this country that trigger a spiritual journey. Sedona, Arizona, is one of those locations. You will find majority of us will at some point be in Sedona, Arizona. Not you would have dreams of it. You'll think about it because the frequency of the place. It's a place where it's like a beginning for many people. And I don't know what it was in other lifetimes. So you have to understand, we're not talking, when we talk this level of Sedona, Arizona energy like that, you're talking galactic energy, but you're also talking past lives. You're also talking no time or space. So that's a dimensional. Now, third dimensional people, very rare in Sedona. Very rare. Very rare. If not, they won't be third dimensional for a long time while being there. So you go to places where people are enlightened and the information is there for you. And sometimes I often tell people, my students, I'm like, everyone's got to learn how to channel now. They've got to learn how to channel. The information that everyone's looking for would never be in a book. And if it's in a book, the book is part of another person's program. So the more you read it, the more you go into that person's world. And now your own thoughts are not yours. And so when people keep telling you to read these books, we light workers are saying, no, read parts of the book. Never read the whole book. Read what you need to get out of it as a base. Put together your own encyclopedia, your own wealth, your own library yourself. I mean, this is the internet now, so you don't have to. It's not as narrow. So put together your own teachings, what you want to learn, because your inner guidance will be the one that teaches you, and that is the hardest thing for people to use is what they're being led to. They want someone to tell them to read this book and read that book. And I'm like, okay, so all these people are reading the book, but nothing has changed in our culture. Nothing's changing on the planet. It's just people know what the problem is. And they keep reiterating, okay, so we know what the problem is. Do you have a plan to fix the problem? Do you have anything that would offer that? And because the program is designed that you don't really solve it, you don't. You don't really solve it. Yes, it says, is it okay that I love to hear people's journeys, though like to read about other people's stories? Yes, no, I mean, no. I mean, reading about other people's stories is one thing. That's not what I mean. Yeah, reading about their journey is one thing. But I mean people reading whole books about points of view and spirituality from one person, from beginning to end. And then telling other people to read that book. And we're like, pull parts of the book out, but always remember, we don't really read complete books. We're pulling what we need out because we're being led by our inner guidance. So our inner guidance doesn't need you to read the whole book. It just may need you to read a couple of chapters to understand something, because the lesson of the soul may have multiple books, not just one book, and now you're reading the whole book. Let your inner guidance tell you the information will never be in one whole book. It will be first of all, the information that's coming to the planet now is coming down as we speak. So there are a lot of people like me, like I have to talk third, fourth dimension here, because that would be to the level of the people that I'm here, and I enjoy it. But when I go into the higher levels like this, if I go into like the fifth and sixth dimension and start talking fifth and sixth dimension, we start talking about planetary pulls. We start talking about migration of people. We don't. We're not. We because we know that something is guiding something. There are systems on top of systems on top of systems. Some of the things we're conscious about, and some of the things we're not conscious about. But what we know is that beings are being shifted upon the planet. They're being moved. They're not being moved. They're moving themselves. So Gaia also speaks to us. And I know to a lot of, and that's on a higher level. That's a fifth and sixth. I wouldn't expect anyone who is on the third and fourth to truly understand what I'm saying, but they will get there. They will get there. And so there's a difference when people say with me, why am I a light worker? Why didn't you choose another title? And I said there was nothing broad enough for me but light worker. All the other titles were too narrow for me. They were not broad enough for me. I could not fit all the gift that I had inside of them. And they were limiting to where I administered the gift, where the gift flowed to. It was limiting. It had to be in a certain structure or a certain this, a certain that. That wasn't going to work for me. And that doesn't work for a lot of people. So I don't find myself as special or unique in that way. I just find myself, I might be rare to some people. I might be very rare to some people. But to some people I'm rare, but I'm not unapproachable. I'm approachable. Like you can talk to me. You'll see me out. I'll be, I'm not, I wasn't designed this lifetime to be on a mountain. I wasn't designed to be away from the people that need me. And because of that, yes, there's some really harsh times I went through by living so close to people who didn't understand the benefit of light over dark. Sometimes you have to identify what they refuse to accept or what they did not know the true meaning of. Like they didn't know the true meaning of light. And I was there to, tell them there are levels to this, right? Yeah. And I was there to tell them the true meaning of light. Now, did you say, well, was I illuminated and was I special? No, I was a light in dark places, and that's when they discovered the true meaning of light, because it was a lot of them against me, and I was a kid. I was very young when the oppression of darkness came upon me, and I learned to detach. It was a detached thing that I had, where I would detach from anger. I detached from anger. And a lot of people say, well, what do you mean you detach from anger? It was like I got into nature and nature was beautiful and I was just a kid running around in the field and having a good time. I detached from anger. I detach from anger. And it's very simple. There's certain things. That's why I'm in nature now, because I know it works. And when I see people when they go to my 7 sacred trees and they get out in nature, it leaves them. It always works. It always works. It's never not worked. No one's ever come to where I work at for healing and leave not feeling good. Because the place is designed for that. The whole site, that nature is designed for that. And when you get into harmony with that, nature will do what nature do. Your anger is not going to overpower an oak tree. It's not going to overpower a lake. It's not going to overpower wind. Your emotions will have to balance to the dominant emotion, which is peace in nature. So your chaos cannot fight a forest. And whatever is on you will have to leave. Because you cannot fight up against a forest. And that's a lot of the reasons why I always tell people, you need to go out into nature and get that. But it's such a hard program that people don't equate nature with peace the way they think they do. They equate it like, oh, it's peaceful, but it's always some vacation. No, this level of peace ain't a vacation. This is a lifestyle. And I think that's what people are getting at, the peaceful lifestyle. How does one attain peace and is there a lifestyle of peace? Yes, there is. It's going to require you to get up from where you are and move. Because guess what? That's how your ancestors got here anyway. So this whole thing in America, and America has this bad where we don't even want to move from state to state, much just county to county or town to town. You know, we don't even want to move. We don't want to move anywhere, and that spiritual people have that bad, where they will have signs and triggers and all of this saying, "Hey, you need to come over here. Hey, you need to do over this," and they'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait and they don't realize until they are forced to move. But if they followed it, the opening, everything that they wanted, all the finances and all the easier things that make the move easier has already been set. So when the door opens, you walk through it. Now, if you don't walk through it, it's going to open up again, but it won't be exactly what you need. Because the first opportunity had everything in it, had the job, had everything you wanted to be in it, because it was the first time. Now, each time that it has to come back around, something costs you. You just don't get, free turns all the time. Like, it'll come back around to the same intensity. No, it's going to come back around, but maybe two of those things won't be on that list. And you may have to work a little harder to get comfortable in the new city that you arrived in, because and the universe gives you time. It's not like it gives you 2 days and say move. It's been giving you the indication. It does not surprise you. The universe is not giving out surprise. There's no need for the universe to be hiding things from you. So it doesn't make any sense for it to be hiding you. It is. We are unaware of the inner guidance of it. We are unaware of our inner guidance, so it feels like it's hiding and you have to manifest. And how are you manifesting and not understanding what's guiding you from the inside? Why are we putting the cart before the horse? And you have all these people talking about manifesting, and they don't have the appropriate alignment. They haven't gone through, and the healing process doesn't mean a deep healing. They haven't gone through being able to speak clearly from their heart yet. And that's what triggers it. That's what manifests things into the reality, your heart. Your heart. That's why manifestation works really well when you're at your last and I don't know where I'm going to go and boom, something comes through, because that's coming out of your heart. That's coming out of your heart. There's no other choice. This is going to have to work or I'm not going to make it. And that comes out of your heart and it pushes into the universe and creates a reality for you, a way out for you. What if we didn't have to be pressed that much to change the reality? Well, that's when you master the human experience. There's a mastery of the human experience. Now, you don't master the complete experience, but you have mastery of many, many sectors of the human experience. And that's one of them, is to be able to speak from your heart. Speak the passion, the love language, the light language of your heart, that it illuminates out of your soul and illuminates out of your spirit and creates a reality in your experience. And anything that was happening prior to that no longer will exist or will have to come into alignment with it. We are powerful human beings. We are co-creators with with the Creator. The tool that the Creator and us and its children, the Creator's us on the planet, the tool that the Creator uses with us is our imagination. That's a tool. That's a tool. Some are very sharp with it and some are very dull. And they're supposed to be like that. There are reality makers and there are reality maintainers. Many of us create a reality and others maintain it. And so all of that is in programming. All of that is how you think and how you feel about yourself. And it's not easy, and don't judge yourself, but I'm telling you, you get out there and grab yourself a tree, anchor down. Anchor right on down. Don't play with it, anchor right on down. I always tell people, don't believe me, go and do it and see how you feel. And what about you? The next day you'll be standing right on that tree stump. You'll be standing right on that root of that tree. Because there's something in your soul, there's something that is in your spirit that receives peace from trees. It probably makes a lot of sense to it does, I can't get into it, but it makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. So, yes. So yes, the right now we're in the battle of realities. Right now, this Christmas season, this holiday season, it will never be the same. The planet is in a societal like a societal say societal situations. And right now, it's about it's about the God you follow. It's about your government. It's about you. And for the first time in a very long time, the planet, the collective consciousness, has to look into its morality. It has to look into its morality. It has to see that there are things that are morally wrong. And so that takes a moment. With us, spiritual people, we're kind of ahead of the game in terms of um, actually working towards, even if it's a very little, even if it's not a lot, but we're actually working towards the light, working towards love, on even if it's self love for ourselves. There are people who are always going to be talking survival. They're going to be talking survival. They are caught in the program thinking that they're not worthy of having everything a peaceful life. They don't think that they're worthy of it. So they're going to put the survival because they need you to maintain that life for them. They need you to to speak that language back to them in order to maintain the reality of you have to um, survive. You have to scrap. You have to almost do anything to make it. And many of us who come from large cities, we were born into that. And so, and that kills. That's why you go back. If I go back to New York, I look at the people. I'm like, this is killing you. This is killing you. Why? What kind of soul? What kind of being is going to live under that much stress for the rest of their life just to say they live in the place? Like, but the program is so heavy and it's so thick that they don't even realize that there might be a better and heavenly place for them that would suit them and align with them. Because guess what? The country's huge. So, yes. Yes, the country's huge. And so, why are you in one place? But that's the part of it, Um, yes. When you go into, I think someone said also about chakras. Yes, I work with the chakras, I call them earth anchors. A lot of people want to say, oh, they're the chakras, and yes, yeah, but I call them earth anchors too. Um, well, not two. That's basically what I call them. Um, because they're vortexes that the earth has as well. And so when I'm working, let's say we're working uh, at the solar, well, I won't say solar plex, but that's a big thing. But say we're working on the third eye, right? And so we're working on opening up your intuition and tapping into a higher dimension. Uh, you immediately have to work on the dream state because a lot of times people think consciousness only happens when you're awake. They don't study dream state consciousness. For some reason, they just feel like when you're asleep, everything's shut off, which I don't understand how they could even think that. But so, no, I'll tell my students, no, you don't shut off like that. The body shuts down, but the spirit doesn't sleep. There's no need for the spirit to sleep. So you're up. The work is still happening. You still are evolving. But now you have a different body. Now you're not traveling in the physical body, you're traveling in an astral body. However far or small or short distance you can travel, but you're not in the physical realm. When you're having a dream, your body's not moving. So you're not, and you're moving in the dream, but your body's not moving. So you'll have another body. So when you're in that level of dream state, if you're more aware of how that part works, that consciousness works, and it is a collective consciousness. You're not dreaming alone. You're not falling. You're not the only one asleep on the planet when we go to sleep. There are millions of people that are asleep on the planet at the same time as you are. So it's just like there are millions of people up walking around in the middle of the day, the same as you are. So what's happening with all those people sleeping? What's going on with those people that are asleep? And are you connecting to them? And what is this that's happening there? Especially if you live in an apartment building when you have, like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 60 people sleeping under one roof. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? And I often tell people, you are very much more powerful. You're much more aware of who you are in your dream state than when you are not. That's why people do a lot of programming in their dream state. They do a lot of getting over trauma and shadow work in their dream state. Shadow work people haven't gotten there yet because they don't understand dream state energy. So they do a lot of and it's not to say that they need to do that, but many people, who understand programming understand that they have to reprogram themselves and they can't just be taught around giving affirmations while they're up. This has got to go directly into their consciousness. So you can't do an affirmation and turn around and have lunch with someone and then hear a bad thing on the news and watch social media. That whole affirmation just been torn up. Just tore up. Just tore up. You mixed it with too many opposite energies in your mind. So yes, the programming can happen in the dream state. There's certain times and certain ways that you do it. It's not just like, a lot of people they want to play in the dream state. I'm like, you don't play in the dream state. You don't play in the dream state. But some of them learn the hard way. And many of them will probably, if I put this on TikTok and cut it up, they'll try to do it. Those are the people that teach us extremes. They teach us the extremes of it by what they do and what happens to them. So we understand it without us seeing it. We can just look at them and say they went too far. And I know not to do that. And that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has their way, is playing their role in this. Everybody's playing their role in this. So there is no, these are the bad guys and these are the good guys. Basically, if those guys weren't on the polar opposite, you wouldn't know what good was. So they're playing their role. And yeah, it's not good, and sometimes we're angry at them and we understand the anger. We understand the anger. We're not faulting. We're not playing that I'm angry at these people. I shouldn't be because that's not a human. I'm angry because they are resisting what I want to do. And I know what they want to do is not, well, I'm done with that. I've experienced what they were and I'm not going to experience it anymore. And the people who are making me experiences, who want me to experience this negativity, they benefit from it. So they're not going to want me to not be involved in negativity. There is a force that I have to use. And so, yeah, you have to say to people, like, you have to say, I'm good. I'm trying to do something good. I'm trying to do something light. Doesn't mean that you go out into the world unprotected and let anybody say anything to you. No, I think that's what like I said, I'm a light worker. So they give me I have a little bit more freedom in a sense. Like you roll up at it. I always tell people, I'm not your pastor. You can talk to your pastor and church people like that. You can't talk to me that way. Because then I'll start talking to you in a way that you didn't even think that I would even talk to you that way. But that's how I have to tell you, like, no, I'm not. You're not going to just be in your program and run into my program and not change, not respect my program. And that's just pure respect. So, and that's what's happening now. A lot of people are thinking that everyone thought the way they thought. And then when someone says something back to them, it's always like, whoa, these spiritual people they say this and you ain't really spiritual. No, we're humans. You say something back. If you kick a dog, it's going to bite you eventually. Is the dog going to hell? Is it less than the dog? Is it a devil dog from hell? Is it an immoral dog? No. It's a dog that God gave a gift to defend itself. Period. So don't throw a stone if you don't want a stone to be thrown back. I've been telling that because on the level there's a lot of fighting going on. There's a lot of fighting going on. The reason why there's a lot of fighting going on and is because people are opening up their mouths. they're opening up their mouths and they're not realizing exactly what they're saying. And when someone checks them with them, what they're saying, they either get, because they haven't done the work, they're either getting their feelings in attack. It's like inner child work running amok in the spiritual world, because the movement has to mature. It's designed that way for so many people to be in an immature state, because the movement in itself, the collective movement, all of us are going to mature within this spiritual experience. We're not going to always be the same. We're not going to always have the same issues. We're going to have, it's going to be more solid, but we're going to have to mature with it. That means that we're going to not have to say we love, we're going to have to live it. And the how-to do it is going to have to come up. Can't be pie in the sky, and it can't be all of that. And it can't be, it has to be in a delicate in the middle, where everything is talked about. It's talked about. I think when people stop talking about things, like they just decide that they don't want to talk about something that's hurting the whole entire planet, I think that's the worst thing. So I rather like people to talk about it, so that other people, sometimes you don't know where you stand on an issue until you hear two people talk about it. And so in the light working profession that we're having right now is that there are people, there are businesses, there are powers. It's a whole new world actually happening. I mean, I'm on like a real small slither of it, but it's a whole new world right now for many of us. It's a whole new world. There are so many people now that are changing. There are so many people that are getting sick and tired of people hating. There's so many people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired. There's so many people that are saying, you know what, I don't even understand why I've been at this job so long. I just don't. What is there another way? And yes, there is another way, because what's happening is that there are avenues that are opening up that fit where you are and where you want to go with your life. But you have to accept the freedom that you have. You have to accept the freedom that you have. If you don't accept the freedom, then you can't accept to be free, because you don't accept the freedom. Because and I understand it, you were in a program where you were defined by the things that you owned, the titles that you have. So if you think you don't have that title and you don't have that property, in the old paradigm, it was like, oh, well, you have nothing, and so you basically tell you nothing. But in the new paradigm, it's almost the exact opposite. The more you own, the more that keeps you in a field of anxiety and lack, that you have to continue to do something to maintain these things, these physicalities. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you just live on the side of the road. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a level of balance that has to be struck, so that you can breathe more and see more for your life. A lot of people are, and I think they should, they're buying homes and everything, but a lot of us light workers are like, you know what, I'm not trying to buy a home, because I might be trying to buy a mobile home. Because, we go on these sabbaticals where we take a year off. And we have to. There are certain ceremonies I have to go to. I have to see certain people. I have to commune with them for certain months. I want to, because it's part of my journey, my voyage. And when I finish with it, I have a whole wealth of teachings that I can teach to my students. And I think that's the difference. I think right now with light workers, the teachers, a lot of them are, I know with me and my group, we constantly learn. I constantly learn. If it's a channel, it's a new technique I need to work out. If I need to call a colleague that works in light language, or if I need to call another shaman to ask them, there is a network of us that have the information, that we help each other create the lesson plans that are necessary. How else is this going to happen? It has to be with people who have actually experienced it in order to teach it. And so we're looking at so many of the people now sort of come to this crest, like they're coming to this level where they are not being fed enough, and they are getting tired of the regurgitation of information, because wherever they were, they exhausted the person, meaning that was to the level of the person's knowledge. And so they're exhausting a lot of the first layer healers and prophets. Their first layer. Those particular ones have to go back and now start to learn more about their gift and come back. But they've burned through them. And so they're headed toward us and layers of us. And so that's why I've come out on TikTok, so that I can tell people from experience and offer authenticity. Offer authenticity as not only an option, the only way to go. The only way to go. So sometimes people are thinking, oh, it's an option if you're authentic. It's not an option. It's the only way to go. You won't go very far in this field if you're not authentic. You just won't go very far in this field. And you don't know what that energy is going to do to you, because you don't even know energy healing. So you don't know when a whole bunch of people are looking at you, what's that doing to you. You don't know if a whole bunch of people resting on every word that you speak because they think that you know what you don't know. If you're not built for that level of energy being targeted towards you, you don't know what that is. You don't know how to cleanse yourself from that energy. No one's ever teaching you that, because you didn't come in through the point of healing. So it's like you using a tool that you don't know how to clean or put away. So it's always on, and you're always on, and you're frying yourself. You're frying yourself because you don't have the support system in order to create a spiritual business. The support system for yourself, you're offering it to everyone else, but you're unaware of how your tool has to be maintained in order for you to work with your clients. Completely unaware of it. And when you become aware of it, you have to understand that there are people who work to maintain other light workers. That's their job. That's their mission. They can't work with regular people. They have to work with people who maintain. There's there's mechanics, bus mechanics for buses. Well, there's mechanics for light workers. They maintain. There are certain light workers, not that they only have light working clients, but 95% of them are light working clients because of the intensity of their healing. The intensity of their healing. I have a sister here that Patricia Dancing Elks. She does light language, and she works with mostly light workers. She works with everyone else too, but she works with mostly light workers because it's that intensity that we need. And there are many light workers that need that that healing. And we are doing retreats just for light workers, because there's so many of us now that have these businesses, but they have no concept of what's going on in their personal life. Why is so much energy being shot toward them? What's going on with these numbers? They need to know exactly what's going on, an overall view of what's going on energetically on the planet by people who have physically experienced it. And so, yes, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that. So I am going out. Like I said, I'm going to be here at night. I'm going to start kind of like coming on so that I can teach. Today I didn't read anyone. And yesterday I don't think I read. I might have read last night. But I'm reading. I'm doing a lot of sessions in the daytime. So my gift is pretty sharp. And during this time of year, this is the busy season. It'll start the day after Christmas all the way until Valentine's Day. So for those who are healers, and I'm letting you know, if they don't tell you where the busy season is, I'm telling you. From the day after Christmas to the day after Valentine's Day is our busy season. It incorporates Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve for predictions and healing, start over, resets, all of those, yoga, everything. So I want to get you right. I want you to ask me questions about your business, about the gift that you have in your business. Like, break your business down a little further. Like, understand it on its organic level, not how it looks like on paper or marketing, but on the organic level. What does it do in one sentence? And I don't mean an unclear sentence. I don't mean a vague sentence like I promote wellness in the communities of the community. Stop. Stop. More. Exactly what it is that you're doing. Because I think when you get an idea of exactly what it is that you're doing, like literally say to yourself, okay, so with me, I'm healing anxiety and depression through nature and sacred trees. Boom. Gotcha. Oh, okay. How? Then I go into how. But people have to know in one sentence what you do. They have to. Because of the energy that's coming off of you, sometimes you're unaware that they're in you're hitting them with energy. It's not a regular business. You don't have a regular business. So it's not like you're selling your baker. You're working in energy. You're healing people. Even if you're counseling them, that's energy. You can't just assume that the average person is going to talk to you and they'll be grounded. You can unground them. Where they might be talking to you, but they don't even understand what's happening. Like they feel like, I feel lightheaded, I feel everything. Because your aura at that point, you're built for masses of people. It's bigger than the average person's aura. They don't need their aura to be that big, but we need our aura to be that big. And so it takes a lot of me saying to people, okay, so your aura is really big, so sometimes when people come and they want to talk to you, and they want to understand what you're doing, they get it, but they have to come back 2 or 3 times. I'm like, well, my best thing that I always say, and you hear me always say this here, hang out with me for a while. Some of this doesn't have words to it. Most of what we do doesn't have words to it. It has energy to it, and people read the energy, and I don't have to say the words. They get it. They get how it affects them. They get my gift and how it relates to them without me saying how it relates to them. Because I believe that you have to give people the benefit of the doubt that their inner guidance is intact. It's intact. It might not be turned on, or it might be turned down very low, but they have it. They have it. And people say to me, well, Lawrence, do people ever get like a negative vibe and stuff like that? I'm like, no, and if they do, they know where it's coming from. They know where it's coming from. And sometimes there's stuff, like we'll say, sometimes there's certain people that bring up other people's stuff. Like when people meet certain light workers, they go out and they always say, well, Lawrence, how come I always anger people? I'm like, well, you got that sort of aura that you fit in a lot of people's trauma. You fit in a lot of people's trauma. Certain groups of people, you have that archetype that you fit in their trauma. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, you just might want to know how you show up to certain people. It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with you. It's just, you might approach a client differently when you know how you show up in their world. And it's supposed to be. It's not like, who's going to say. We are healers, so sometimes the mere fact that we're in front of someone, it agitates what's on them that's negative. It agitates what's on them that's negative. Because they can't budge us. Because we're working in the positive light. So their negativity can't budge us. So it agitates them, and it causes the person that we're talking to increase in light and agitate it even more. So, and what I mean by agitated, meaning like certain parts negativity have been on people so long they almost resonate. It's in their way they think. And certain times when you stand in pure positivity in front of them, it agitates them because it's like someone shining a bright light in someone's eye who was sleeping. Doesn't mean that they're agitated because they're evil, they're trying to attack you. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of light, and it agitates them. And so when you know certain things like that, and it's very hard. It took us a long time to get here. It took us a long time. Lots of arguments, lots of anger to understand what was going on. because we weren't putting out negativity. We weren't putting it out, but we were receiving it. And so we kind of all sat down and we talked and we realized that that's what that was. And now we need to teach it. Not everyone has it, but it's a phase where you people they fear your power. They're agitated because you have that light, but it's also that you have a light and you have power too. And in their world, that would mean that you would be the aggressor or the attacker. And so when you understand their world and you're like, oh, in your world, I should probably show up as an aggressor and attacker, but in my world, it's not. I'm not being aggressive to you or attacking you. I don't want anything from you. I just showed up with that much light that you saw a person that didn't need to do the things that you need to do in order to get people to pay attention to them. It's light. And so some of that kind of comes out. You just have to understand it at certain times and ask for the elders' advice when you're working with clients, and we'll tell you. It will tell you. Lost lots of friends because of this. Yes, and you'll lose friends. You'll lose them. They were designed to not be, you elevated. And they couldn't elevate. They didn't sign up for that. And so they left. Good evening, BK. And because I had friends too. And I do. I can go, sometimes I go back and I hang out, and there's only certain friends that I can get with certain times because they didn't live the same life I lived. So I can't expect them to understand me completely. I understand theirs because I ran away from the life they're living. But we're at this point now where spiritual people are building an infrastructure, so we need positive reinforcements from each other. We need positive reinforcements from each other. We need to know that everybody is at least halfway on our page. So we're not fighting, we're letting those people fight. We're letting the angry people fight with the angry people. The loving people are building more love. We're building more love. We're committed to doing something that will help people. And the more of us that are out there, the more of us who create a structure, a network, even on TikTok. There's so many of us, and I will be trying to work with many of them on TikTok if they would like me to work with them. And just like, hey, we need to create a forum here where we have a discussion, because you have all these people here and we have all this information, but none of the, say, intuitives or the healers are getting on each other's live and creating dialogue that the masses can feed from. And maybe that's going to be me. Maybe I'm going to be the one that says to many people, we all need to get on the same page so whoever is watching can at least get information from multiple points of view in the walks of spirituality through experience. We don't deal with the gifts. We let the universe and God deal with your gift. What we're dealing with is the collective of it. The collective. Can we build a network with it? What are you doing? And not in the sense of I need to hide my business because somebody's trying to take my business. No, that's like someone trying to steal your DNA in a sense like that. No, your experience is part of your business, and nobody can copy your experience. This is not a regular. And if someone's guiding you for a spiritual business, like it's like a bakery or something, no, you tell them, hey, no, this is spiritual business. So I'm not competing with people. I'm showcasing the talent that I actually have. And I know people need it. They want it. Everyone needs it and everyone wants it. So it's not so much you're competing. You're trying to find a comfortable spot for you to grow your business in, and for you to grow too, because you're not separate from your spiritual business. I find so many spiritual businesses that run out of business because the owner stops growing. The owner doesn't start channeling. It's like they become a warden of the business and they don't realize that because they stop growing, the business stopped growing. The business stopped growing. The moment that they stop saying, I need to take a trip and learn something new to bring back to my clients or teach. The moment that they stop doing that and they get involved into all the little energy spats in their store, their business is about to go out of business. It's about to go. And we all know it when we see it. Because we know it, that can't exist in a place where people are coming to get tools. and things for healing. So yeah, Amazon took a lot of those businesses out. Those that are still around, they probably have really good energy, or they are working hard to stay open because so many people are not going into metaphysical shops now. They're not dealing with the middle person, and they're not dealing with the energy that's in some of them. That part is over with, and so it's sad in a sense because I use that part. The metaphysical shops are really good training grounds for people who wouldn't have the access to train their gift. They wouldn't have the location. They wouldn't have the clientele that's already set up for them to train their gift. So it is not a real good thing in a sense, but it does allow those shops that are what they say they are to flourish, to turn into schools instead of metaphysical shops. They turn into whole schools. So I'm in agreement with that because I know the benefit of that. I know the benefit of training. I know the benefit of fairs. And I've always tell people for years, and I know I'm going to continue on TikTok until they kick me off. I'm like, there's so many fairs all happening around your neighborhood that you can do Reiki at on the weekend. You can do tarot. You can do readings. You can learn from. You can just show up. You can just show up. You really can just show up and speak to 15 to 20 different healers in one room that come every month. So it's not like you're meeting, we're all friends. We all know each other. We've been doing this every Sunday for every month for 5 years. We know each other. We know where we're traveling to. When the universe sends us to Sedona as a group, we got to go over here. We know each other. And so the reason why we have been successful on this level is because we were the travelers. We were the ones that had the life that can go to Sedona, that can go to California, that can go to Charlotte, that can go to Atlanta, can go to New York, and can go to Lilydale. It can go to all these places. We could go to all these places. And so we understand the benefit of movement and learning. And so we inspire people to go on their journeys when they come into contact with us because they ask us, well, how did you learn all of that? And I'm like, well, I went there. I spoke to the people. My guides led me there. I'm not being led by myself. I'm already being led. You follow the spirit. When you take off the training wheels and you have to follow spirit, that's when you really soar. That's when you really, really soar, right there. When you have to take those training wheels off, you have to trust in yourself and your inner guidance. And eventually, it's not that you always do it. Don't get me wrong. I don't always walk around looking for inner guidance. But I know when to call it. I know when to use it. I know when to use it immediately. I know when to go for it. So I don't know. I have a lot of things that I want to do on TikTok. I want to teach. I want to open up forums. I need you guys' help on how do I get this out there. I'm not one of these elders that thinks that he's going to do this all alone. I need help from you guys to say, okay, this is a forum that might suit you well to get this all out to people in TikTok. Or I don't really, I don't mind being on a podcast with someone, but they really have got to match where I am. Other than that, it's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for me. So there are people that are, lots of people. I just say if you advise me to be on someone's podcast, just to understand where I am and where they are. Because I don't want I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to start like a side argument fire over here because I said the truth on their podcast and they were not ready for it because they were on the third, fourth dimension and I had to go to the fifth and sixth dimension to answer the question. So, and I'm not really into people talking about healing. I'm into people actually doing it. So I would love to have you on. But yes, please, Lindsay. I would love to be on your podcast because you know my work. You know exactly what I do. And so I can use all that energy for the podcast, not for explaining to the host what I do. And so yes, there have been people that it's pretty difficult. Well, it's interesting. My guides don't allow me so much to speak on platforms where there are other people, and then maybe one or two people. But I'm not a group person like that, and that's how I've been, and I kind of like it. But if you have any ideas of any forum that I can fit in, that would love this, and I want to give this to TikTok. So if there's anybody that you figure like, hey, he probably would be good at this forum or doing this with this person or whatever, let me know. Even the younger psychics I can train here. I've seen a lot of them tarot readers and stuff. They could really benefit from an intro class. A definitely intro class with me. And who's going to be able to teach them anyway? They spend most of their time on TikTok, so I would have to be here on joining them on TikTok and teach them directly from the live. If they are not filled with so much ego that it's difficult to teach them. Certain younger readers think they're filled with that ego. They don't think that I could teach them, and it's the whole thing. And that's just, this is a bad look in terms for energy. So, but good evening, Miss Robinson. Good evening. Good evening. I got a whole bunch of people here on. So that's pretty good. So do you have any additional questions before I get off? Because, I do about an hour at night. And I'm going to get off. Thank you, guys. What are your thoughts on collective tarot readings that are over TikTok that people attach to? I'm glad you asked that question, Lindsay. I think collective tarot readings can be good, but I see the way they're doing it and it's not thorough enough. I'm a firm believer that even if you're giving it away for free, it must be of value. It must be of value. And sometimes I think what they're saying is not of value. It's not, they can be they can be clearer in their explanation. I think if they design the tarot sessions a little bit better so that they showcase their talent more, as opposed to reading off the card, and showcase their intuitive talent. I think, for most of these collective tarot readers on TikTok, I think if they put them cards down, for a moment and don't pick them up so often. Like, you can be a tarot reader without using the cards the whole time. You can do it without using the whole cards the whole time. It's a guide. And so when I see people, we call them flipping cards. I mean, they boom, and boom, and a boom, and a boom, and then they say one or two a phrase, and then they go to the next card. It's like, no, that card had more stuff to it. You just have to breathe. See, their intuition, they have training wheels. So they don't know how to flex out their pineal gland to get more information. They don't know how to breathe. Like, so when they see it and they just close it off, they don't take, you'll see me in my sessions, you'll see me stop and I'll take a breath. I'll breathe in. I'm clearing it so I can see more. I can teach them that, and that probably would benefit them, and they will probably get better readings and their rate would go up. Because the more you connect to your client, the more they see it as well. It's a connection that's happening. And so the tarot cards do not allow for complete connection. And they're designed that way. It's not that they are designed for people that want to receive a message without a lesson. My thing with tarot readers it's true, and then people do, and it's just they want to receive a message, but they don't want to receive the lesson. So they want you to tell them what you see, and it should be slightly in agreement to what they see anyway, because they that's what they're doing, and that's okay. That's okay. A lot of it's confirmation, so that's fine. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything. But what I'm saying now is that that's an old profession in a new time, and I'm like, they're gonna need more than what's on that card. They're gonna need more than what's on that card. They're gonna need you to actually use your gift. That's what they're gonna need. And I see on TikTok that certain people, and they're good, but they're too young. They're too young to open up a channel that everybody of every age can ask them a question, or they can read the tarot. You may not be able to. The same card you turn over for a 20-year-old and you see something. It's different that if you turn that same card over for a 40-year-old, you would see something different. Somehow, the people that they're in front of are not coming into play with the message. Like they're what they're seeing is from their experience. They're not reading the other person's aura so that the message gets to them in their reality. And that takes time. That's not something that you can just jump and do. And I would love to teach people the technique. And if they practice it, it'll guarantee get them their rate up, and it'll get them more clients. I got a lot of my clients just by my bedside manner. My bedside manner was always good. I've always understood that these people are opening up for me to see into their life. And so I need to be respectful of them, and I need to make them feel comfortable. And I need to feel comfortable because I don't know who these people are either. So anything can jump off of them. So there is certain order when you open up someone's auric energy to give them a reading or to assist them. And they're not teaching that because a lot of people didn't learn to read face to face. And so there's a whole section of this that they're not getting. And those that I train do, because I put people, I don't play with people with this. You're going to be in the level of a boot camp, and I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. And I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm not going to. You're not going to rest on the tarot with me. In fact, I always tell all of my people, make your own tarot. Why are you not making your own tarot cards? Why would you not do that? And if you say, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I say, you know what? You cut out whatever, 52 card sizes of cardboard and draw on it, put a symbol on it, whatever you have to do, but make it. Make it. They're not really concerned about how pretty your cards are. They're trying to figure out if they're trying to look at the message. They don't care. You flip though, you could give them cards and they wouldn't even know what to do with them. So why are you making so much emphasis on the tarot cards when they're not yours? Make your own tarot cards. Make your own tarot cards. Why would you not do that? This is the part where spirituality doesn't have creativity because it has copy. Spirituality is being copied. It's not being creative. And so they don't even think that I should make my own tarot cards. Because you have to trust your gift. You have to trust your insight more. And so, yeah, they are doing that. And I would like to help them and give them a tarot card intro lesson and teach them how to cleanse themselves. And they're just opening up gates in front of them, and they're getting hit with so much stuff that they don't even know. That's why they don't last long. That's why they don't last long. If you know, these tarot readers don't last long at all. This place eats them up because they don't know how to protect their auric field. You can't open up if you haven't been trained, if your energetic field hasn't been stretched enough to deal with masses of people, then they're running into you head on. And they're just banging into you because you haven't stretched out your energetic field to be able to connect and disconnect in a massive way. And sometimes you stay connected to your clients, yes, even through the tarot. And the tarot is a sort of a barrier, but they stay connected to their clients. longer because they don't know how to disconnect from them yet. No one's taught them that part. And you only learn that part in fairs. You don't learn that from regular people. You have to be in a group of other people who are reading for like 4 or 5 hours straight and see what they do. So maybe I'll do something about that. And thank you openly, thank you. And so I want to tell people about the different avenues, professional avenues, how to maintain their clarity in their readings, how to not always look in someone's eyes. You don't want to look in someone's eyes. You know, most of us say, don't look in their eyes yet because the eyes are the windows to the soul, and you're not trying to see the soul. You're not trying to see something in a tarot reading that you're doing on TikTok that deeply. That's a full session. That's when you get your body and everything, but you're not trying to see into their soul like that. No, you don't do that. Not on this. Not here. Not like that. There's too much energy on the app for you to do that. And so there are certain ways that you handle your clients so that they continue to come back, and it's no trickery, no nothing. It's just that your gift. There are times that the universe sends you clients for them to teach you, because they're going to ask you stuff that you got to study and come back with. That's how I learned. I learned from people asking me, like I saw something, they saw something, and I had to research it, figured out that I already knew it, and I moved on from there. I mean, there is no school. There is a school. I went to school for it, but there is no day-to-day school for this. This is living. You know, this is where we got disconnected from the ancestors, so we don't even know. Do you know anything about fairies? Yes, I do. Fairies are very strong beings of the forest. They're not weak beings, although they're light, and fairies should never touch the ground. A grounded fairy is a very depressed fairy. A grounded fairy is a very, very depressed fairy. So how do I because fairies get depressed. That's one thing they do. They'll fly down and rest on a log. And so they get depressed because they're not supposed to touch the ground as much. They're very strong. They're very strong-willed. They're very strong for love. They have an open heart. They have a sense of course, they're wanderlust. Of course, they're wanderlust. They are. And then they have a sense of community, natural community. Fairies, you have to keep fairies around light. Fairies like fire. Fairies like fire. They like a fire. They like that. They like natural light. They like that. They like light that they can see through, like a flame. Fairies, very powerful. I know a lot of fairies. I know them in Arkansas a lot. Crystal fairies. I know them from the hot springs. That's where I know them from. They've always been my friend. Fairies have always been cool with me. They've always been my friend. They've always helped me out. They alert me to certain things, and it's almost like they if they like you, they love you. If they don't like you, there's certain parts of the forest you're not going to. But they like a pure, and they see your heart. They see your heart. Are there dark fairies? Of course, there's dark everything. Yeah, there's some dark fairies that are dark, and I don't run into a lot of them because of the fairy crew I hang out with. Pretty light beings and strong and stuff like that, and they're pretty and fairies are men and women. Men and women have fairy energy. It's very mystical, shall we say? It's a very mystical. Can they be energy vampires, fairies? I I guess, but I don't. I think that's probably a dark fairy because fairies have a lot of energy. For them to be trying to suck off another being's energy is rare. So they would have to have been a dark fairy or lost some energy, and now is either needing that energy or drop their frequency that they don't realize that they don't need to suck off someone like that. And then sometimes you just give them a crystal and it helps, but to be careful of the crystals. Some of them are too heavy because they're not. They really are air. They're not earth. So some of those crystals will pull them directly down. Thoughts on ayahuasca journey to plant medicine? I've been contemplating it. Ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca is a wonderful thing. I think that I will say this. I will say this, and I'm so glad that you talked about that. Sometimes you look for the right shaman, and you look for the people that have gone through the ceremony, and you can talk to them about it, or connect with them. With me and with others that were kind of like me coming through when ayahuasca came through. To me, it was always about the people that I'm doing ayahuasca with. And so sometimes you want to have a private ceremony because you're opening yourself up to other people that you have no idea what's inside of them. And although you have a shaman present, you don't actually know. And so depending on certain cultures that you have, they won't have that's why the oneness and plant medicine has to come together, because for some reason they're not getting that there are certain entities on certain groups of people and races of people. And if you don't know this entity, because you haven't dealt with this race of people, and you open them up to ayahuasca, how are you going to administer the healing? And so this is what we're working on, to make these plant medicine ceremonies more culturally appropriate. Having different shamans there instead of one shaman. Because that shaman doesn't know my people. And so if that shaman doesn't know my people, then it's hard for me to open up and have my people feel safe if they don't see or feel someone that has their experience. And so that's what I say about ayahuasca. And it's great, but you have to be aware of understanding. One thing about ayahuasca, I will say, with the people who've taken ayahuasca, I've always having to ground them afterwards for a long time, like years. I have to keep grounding them. And they talk about it because the aftercare of ayahuasca is not there. We're just kind of left with trying to figure it out with all these people who have taken ayahuasca and have not necessarily gone through the stages of spiritual transformation. They have been in the ceremony and they've been shown stuff, but they haven't necessarily gone through the evolution stages. So it will unground them. They'll see the ending, but they won't see the beginning or the middle. Yeah. Says my brother uses it monthly. Isn't ayahuasca dangerous that way? I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's making it. I would not do it monthly, but I don't know his if he has PTSD, if he's going through therapy with it. I don't know. And so there people are administering it through therapy and other ways, and that works. I just know the aftercare is necessary for the people who have been taking ayahuasca in order for them to ground. They seem to be ungrounded a lot of the times. Not in a dangerous way. That's not what I mean. Not in a dangerous way, but in a more they need to be integrated into the spiritual community with the information that they have, and somehow it's not. They're not integrating it yet because there hasn't been enough of them for them to find their place after ayahuasca. See, ayahuasca, there are people who do ayahuasca and then they go back to their corporate job and whoa. Whoa. That right there, it's like, no, you need support with this one. Because, Mother Aya come back on you in the board meeting, in the staff meeting. We've been there where you get a hit with Aya comes back and you get that forward feel, you're sitting up in staff meeting. Because it's spiritual, so it doesn't recognize your job. It just recognizes your frequency. But uh, ayahuasca is very good. I don't do ayahuasca. There are others that do plant ceremonies. I don't do the plant ceremonies because I'm dealing with my people coming to me to learn how to soothe their anxiety and depression and get clarity. So there's nothing in the middle of that for me. They have to be in a conscious state and be in an aware state. And so I don't do that. I'm a recent I've in a recent dream actually used to show me was drawing my energy and I saw fairies. I don't know. You'll have to book a session with me on that one, Bella. You have to book a session with me for me to kind of get into that one because it's a couple other things. There's something that you're not aware about who you are too. So there's something else going on in there that might make a lot sense, might make it a lot more sense. But yeah, there's something with you, Sue. Okay, everyone, I am going to end because I only agreed to keep this energy up for about an hour, and then I rest my gift. So, love you all. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Tell everyone about me and share whatever you can so that other people can learn. But tomorrow I'll be on around the same time, around 8 Central Time. And we'll pick it up from there. Invite people. Talk to you later. Bye.